Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
Good Saturday afternoon out there, everyone, and welcome to your number one source for Native American television news, Native News Today. I'm your host, Jason Salzman, in the Muskogee Media Studios here at the Muskogee Creek Nation, and we are so excited to be bringing you another episode of the program. And this program today, very special as we highlight something that a lot of Muskogee Creek citizens have been talking about, had questions about, things like that, and it has to do with One Fire Holding Group. That is the business arm of the Muskogee Creek Nation. Basically, lots of tribes have done this, and we'll talk about that a little as we go on in the program. Lots of tribes have employed a holding company, basically, to keep business and politics separate. You could imagine how things could get muddied there, but the business arm of the Muskogee Creek Nation, One Fire Holding Group, we went up to their offices, talked with CEO Mike Payne, talked with Chairman of the Board, Sean Kouplen, to give the citizens an inside look and a lot of information on what they are, what they do, and what it means to the Muskogee Creek Nation. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back from this break, we'll be in the Muskogee Media newsroom with Media Coordinator Jessica McBride. She accompanied me to these interviews. We'll break them down, get you ready for what you're going to hear, and talk about what it all means.
We believe if you teach a man to fish, you can feed him for a lifetime. We believe that transitioning convicted citizens back into our communities enhances public safety. We believe that every citizen, even ex-prisoners, are important and are capable of change. We believe in reclaiming our citizens and investing them back into a culture that embraces healing and restoration.
We believe
in reintegration.
It's more than just an associate degree. It's a life-changing experience.
You'll see a lot of cultural features here on the campus. You'll see a symbol of the mound, which goes back to the history of Muskogee people as being in that Mississippian time period, that mound building society. That really welcomes our students whenever they first get here.
The college in itself is beyond the building, is the people.
They're passionate, very passionate about what they teach, and it shows whenever they're teaching.
The instructors and the administration, they really believe in their students here.
After a couple classes, I began to notice that it kind of felt as if I were returning back to something that had been lost for like a long time. As I learned more about the history of my people, to discover that there were very many great people that did a lot of good things for their people, for their nations, and that those people were American Indian and Native American, it kind of brings out a sense of pride that was not really there before.
There is a future for our people.
Looking for your next 18-hole adventure? Then take a look at Fountainhead Creek Golf Club. Nestled in the beautiful confines of Lake Eufaula State Park, large sloping greens and well-placed bunkers characterize the Muskogee Creek Nation's Floyd Farley designed course and offers a fine test of skill for any golfer. Stay up on all the latest gear and equipment with a visit to our pro shop. Have lunch at the turn at the Clubhouse Grill. We're waiting to accommodate you at Fountainhead Creek. Give us a call at 918-689-3209 or visit fountainheadgolf.com to book your next round. Fountainhead Creek Golf Club, close to home, far from ordinary.
I think creatively, I was just into drawing for a long time, ever since I was a kid. It wasn't until maybe around late 2007, 2008 that I became aware of the graffiti scene. It changed everything for me. You don't even really understand in the beginning what kind of journey it's going to take you on. But I think that in order to become great at what you do, it really boils down to how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your own artistic creativity and your own expression. You know, I think it comes from like a belief in oneself and pushing yourself to the limits as far as you can take it.
And we're here in the Muskogee Media Newsroom. Jason Salzman joined by Jessica McBride as we break down some of the content we have for you here today on Native News Today. Jessica, we've been doing stories, as we promised, on One Fire Holdings and Flying T, breaking down that partnership and how it relates to the Muskogee Creek Nation. A lot of citizens out there wanting to hear what we have. You and I both went up to One Fire Holdings office, talked with Sean Kouplen. He is the chairman of the board of One Fire. Also, Mike Payne, the CEO. A lot of good people up there doing some great things for their tribe. They just haven't been heard from. I think that was one of the main focuses for us as we started to gather our coverage. A lot of the citizens had questions. They just hadn't heard from One Fire.
Right. They don't understand what One Fire is exactly. And so that's what we set out to do in these interviews.
Absolutely. Now, when we talk about holding companies and tribes, this isn't something new. This has happened as far back as the 90s, really, with tribes establishing holding companies. You've done a little bit of research. Talk about some of the tribes that have the holding companies.
Well, the Cherokee Nation has Cherokee Nation Business Enterprise or Cherokee Nation businesses. Some other tribes around the U.S. have a holding company. The Alabama Coshawta Tribe of Texas have ACT Holding. And then the Winnebago tribe actually started a company, Ho-Chunk, back in the 90s, and they've been going on since then.
Yeah, and these have proven to be not only they have fortified themselves, but proven to be helpful with the tribe too, not mixing business with politics. And people ask too, well, what about Muskogee Nation Business Enterprise? They want to focus on governmental contracts, is what we've been told too. So that kind of clarifies it there. But our first interview, we sat down with, as I said, chairman of the board, Sean Kouplen, and he was eager to talk with us about the relationship and about just what One Fire Holding is, as it is in itself a holding company, but what it means to the Muskogee Creek Nation, specifically to the over 75,000 individual stakeholders as citizens. So we have those comments and that interview for you right now. Sean, for all the people out there that may not be, familiar with business and how it works, explain what a holding company is first off with One Fire, and then expand on that by why it's so important that a tribe like the Muskogee Creek Nation have a holding company.
Sure. The Creek Nation receives a lot of accolades nationwide for the structure of One Fire. And One Fire is its own standalone holding company, which really just means it's a corporate shell, if you will, that can own other assets and that can own other companies. The reason that it is so important in light of our relationship with the Creek Nation is that it allows us to be much more nimble. It allows us to move much more quickly when opportunities present themselves. It allows for One Fire to have its own board that can make independent business ownership decisions. And that is so critical. As we have found all over the country, the tribes that do a better job of separating politics from business are the most successful. It's this way in Oklahoma, and it's really this way all over the United States.
Yeah, it's been done before, and we've probably seen other tribes in Oklahoma do it as well.
Exactly.
Talk about really the investments too. What investments have you guys, as One Fire, looked at and are involved in now?
Sure. Our only objective is to make good quality investments on behalf of the Creek Nation. If you think about the fact that we have less than 10% of the funds in the general fund of the Creek Nation are allocated to One Fire. And much like money managers make decisions for the money that is in the general fund, we make those same kind of decisions for our allocation. It's just a different type of investment. We are seeking good quality small business opportunities where we can employ tribal members, create wealth on behalf of the tribes, and create a greater amount of equity for the tribe. The fear is that one day something may change the gaming landscape. You know, it could be political in nature, it could be socioeconomic, but if that were to happen, and for the tribe's sake, we hope it never happens, but if it were to happen, we feel like it is necessary, and as does the council and the chief in the past, have felt like it's necessary to build up other sources of revenue for the tribe. And again, it's not unprecedented. We have seen the other large 4 civilized tribes here in Oklahoma have done the exact same thing. So what we do is we take our allocated dollars, and we've looked at over 150 investment opportunities in the last 2.5 years. We have chosen to participate in about 10 of those, and we feel like those 10 will give us the best opportunity to, again, create jobs and create wealth for the tribe.
The agreement was for a 3-year period with that amount. At the end, we're nearing the end of that. Is One Fire in a good position, and do you believe, to be standalone now, or would there be a need to go back and maybe have another kind of agreement? Yeah.
It's a very good question, and as a business owner myself, what you find is that very rarely can you start a business from scratch and have it turn profitable within 3 years. It's just very rare. It just takes time to build up mass, you know, and get to a point to where you have the volume of sales or revenue to make a profit. We will do that in our 3rd year, which is very unusual. So if we were to go back to the tribe, it would never be for operational monies to function. We will be self-sustaining by the end of this calendar year, and we'll be profitable, nicely profitable to be exact. And the only reason that we would ever go back and approach the tribe is if we ever see an opportunity that comes our way that we feel could be very advantageous for the Creek Nation, and we just don't have within our coffers the ability to take advantage of it. And then the chief and the council can then make that decision on a case-by-case basis whether they want to take advantage. We're almost like an investment committee, if you think about it. Prior to One Fire coming along, the Creek Nation was presented with investment opportunities all the time, and it was always going to a different person, you know, and going through a different route. And many times, you know, you know, might not have been an educated decision made, or maybe they never got an answer because there just wasn't a clear who was in charge. Everything can't go through the council. They already have so much to do. You know, I mean, there's just no way. So what we have tried to do is we've tried to bring in a team, you know, with Mike and Mark and Hillary that are very used to this type of analysis. This is what they do. They're experts at analyzing businesses, and they're very good at it. We look at many opportunities, and we dig in and try to ensure that, you know, what we're doing both has low risk but also high potential, you know, on behalf of the tribe. So no, that's a long way of answering. We shouldn't need to be propped up going forward ever. We only need, you know, we would only need additional funds if we had great opportunities come our way that we didn't have the capital to take advantage of.
Sean, tell us a little bit about the composition of the board itself. And when I say that, I mean the people. A lot of questions out there. Who's running things, or who is a part of it? And a lot of the time, specifically, do they have an invested interest in this tribe, being Creek citizens? Talk about the process of that, and who all and for what reasons they were selected.
Sure. We have 4 board members. 3 of the 4 are Creek Nation members, including myself as chairman. The way we were selected, 2 of the members were nominated by the chief. 1 was nominated by the council, and then I was chosen by the members of the board. So they actually selected me. We are all very passionate about the Creek Nation. We are not getting rich doing this, you know, and we put in many hours for our committee pay, if you will. None of us personally have any investment in any of the, the things that we're doing, but we are all emotionally invested heavily. The only reason that we did this, I'm a banker by trade and a business owner. I try to be very judicious and careful with the way I use my time. But the reason that I chose to be involved with One Fire is because I'm very passionate. I mean, my parents and grandparents have been involved with the Creek Nation for years and years. And I very much want to see the tribe continue to progress and develop. So this was a way that I felt like I could take my skill set, and plug in and use it to benefit the tribe. So every investment discussion we have, we discuss how it will benefit the Creek Nation. I think it's very important to remember we are the Creek Nation. We are not an adversary, we are not a competitor, we are owned 100% by the Muskogee Creek Nation. So we want to make the members and the leaders of the nation proud. We want them to look at our participation and look at our performance and see that we are doing our best to be very independent, and make quality decisions on their behalf. We understand it's not our resources, it's the resources of the Creek people.
Okay, you heard there from Sean Kouplen, the chairman of the board of One Fire Holdings. Certainly appreciative of Sean for taking some of his time out of his day and sitting with us to talk about something he seems, and as you see there, very passionate about with One Fire. His grandmother actually used to be on the citizenship board, so he has a very much staked interest in this tribe as a citizen. He wants to see it do wonderful, succeed, so we were glad to be able to talk with him about that. Some of the things we didn't know until we talked with Sean, and that's the power of us, Muskogee Media, being able to go in and talk and share this with our citizens. Jessica, as we tie it all in with our coverage, not only the comments there and the upcoming comments we have from Mike Payne, you recently did a story too on this agreement and on this partnership with James Jennings, the council member. He was cited in the article. Talk a little bit about that and from what you got from that and to what we're seeing now and really what the citizens need to hear about this agreement.
Well, the article I did was over making the Flying T lease payments back to the tribe. And so they won't be making their lease payments to One Fire. They'll be making them to the tribe. It's a 25-year lease, about $21 million total. What James Jennings said is that he wanted to see that money come back to the tribe. And one of the things I also learned in that interview was that here in the next year, the council will be going into negotiations with One Fire to decide what percentage of revenue will come back to the tribe for tribal services.
Yeah, so keep an eye on that. Make sure, we can't stress it to the citizens enough, to get involved in your government, go to the meetings, look at the minutes, go to the National Council website, contact the councilmen. They really want to be involved and want people to do that. So if you do, you will get all of this information. And as Jessica said, One Fire feels good about the amount and the things that are coming back and the investments that they're making. Also, the National Council making sure that they're keeping all their ducks in a row and having everything come back to the tribe. So we see the relationship there, and as we said with the Flying T, things like that, it is a landlord-tenant relationship. And so with the investment side of it, it's a business return coming back. And that's what we talked a little bit more about with Mike Payne in his comments here, the CEO of One Fire Holdings. Mike, we talked with Sean about the investments and some of the things that you are involved in. You actually had some numbers that you guys have dedicated to investing from that 21.9.
Sure. So far in approximately 2.5 years of One Fire, we've invested about half of those funds in various business opportunities ranging several different industries, from majority interest to minority interest. Lots of different investment vehicles that provide us the ability to build the portfolio that's going to sustain One Fire.
Are there anything in place to where you look to invest with Native-owned businesses, things like that?
Absolutely. So I think as Sean alluded to, we look at a couple things when we look at any investment opportunity. We look for, is it a good, profitable business investment? Outside of that, we look at several things. We look at, does it provide employment opportunities for citizens of the nation? Does it provide opportunities in certain regions of the nation? For example, one of the things we heard from the council repeatedly when we've talked to them about what types of things they'd like to see us do was increased business opportunities south of I-40. So that's something we take into consideration. Certainly in the area of native-owned, the businesses that are currently native-owned that then by adding a tribal-owned element help bring more benefit to that company. All of those things kind of take into play. We also look at, are there other values to our portfolio, to the tribe, maybe to other pieces of the tribe where we could bring products and services that perhaps the tribe is currently using that would help the tribe save money on those things, or maybe services to citizens. So there's lots of things we look at on any one investment.
So you guys with One Fire obviously looking at different types of investments, and you look at different things that are maybe hot right now or, like you said, viable to invest in. One of those things is a CNG facility coming up in Glenpool here. Can you talk a little bit about that, how you're excited about that? Probably?
Yeah, so CNG, as I'm sure you know, is an increasingly used transportation fuel. And it's a clean fuel, it's less expensive. Even in today's environment where gas prices are down, it's still cheaper. So there's a lot of opportunity with CNG, and it's growing. There's also state tax credits that help make those investments in the infrastructure to provide CNG. So in reference to investing in opportunities that help the nation overall, there's an initiative within the nation to increase the percentage of fleet vehicles that use CNG. So if the nation owns a CNG filling station, not only are you have reduced fuel costs, but you also have an opportunity to reduce those even more and save the tribe even more money in using CNG. So through that initiative, the Department of Commerce was pushing to have a CNG filling station. And through legislation that they presented to the council and was passed, we are working in conjunction with the tribe to put a CNG station at 181st and Highway 75 that will provide fuels, traditional and CNG, to the public at large, but also will be a filling station that the nation can use. And we're hoping through collaboration with the nation of being able to expand that usage, throughout the tribe and its citizens.
Do you know when ballpark when it may be we may be seeing that there?
It's pumping fuel today, and will be open to the general public hopefully within the next 30 to 45 days.
Wonderful. What about the projections on it? Have you guys feel good about what it's projecting?
Yeah, I mean, we expect probably over $1 million in revenue in the first year on that.
And that revenue there goes back to the board, straight to the tribe? What?
So there's a revenue split on that, but so both to help repay the investment that the Department of Commerce made, in addition to ours. So there's actually a split of revenue back to the nation and One Fire separately, even though it's one and the same, essentially.
I'm sure you realize that the tribe, through Muskogee Nation Business Enterprise, does have operation of travel plazas. Any concern that might conflict with those or hinder at all? Or is that a different market?
We really believe it to be a different market. This is not a convenience store type setup. This is like a fast fill. It's also, distance-wise, it's you got to fill up in Glenpool or Okmulgee. It's more of a local market. As I understand it, there's an absolute intention for there to be CNG added to the existing travel plazas as well, and certainly not seen as a competition at all.
Is the one in Glenpool will it be a standalone, or do you guys see more CNG stations to pop up also?
I would love to see us expand CNG filling stations. There's some tribes around the country that have done very, very well with CNG filling stations, and I think as we prove this first one, then we would absolutely be looking at opportunities throughout the Creek Nation, but we've also talked to other tribes in Oklahoma that are interested in us maybe coming to their territories as well.
As we talk about the future of One Fire Holdings and what you see going forward, we've talked about the CNG, obviously Flying T going up here, Riverwalk, is big projects, things like that. And of course the investments that you've mentioned and the funds put forward to that. Where do you see it going? I mean, do you plan to branch out more, or do you feel like you all have a good startup plan here to where we can sort of expound on what you've done to this date?
I think we feel really good about where the portfolio is. As Sean mentioned earlier, we have a portfolio that in its third year is going to be profitable and it's going to be self-sustaining. We have capital available today to invest. So we're really looking to expand the portfolio now is to continue a mix of income and growth investments that will solidify that, our ability to continue to operate for a long time. And we're looking now in our new investments to really enhance our existing portfolio and just the different business and service functions of the nation.
And there you have it, our conversations not only with Sean Kouplen, the chairman of the board of One Fire Holdings Board, but also the CEO of One Fire Holding Company, that is Mr. Mike Payne. We want to thank both of those gentlemen for taking time out of their busy schedules and days to talk with us a little bit and sort of give the citizens and our audience an insight into what goes on in our investment company there, all of the hard work that they're doing, not only with our new premier event coming up, the Flying T, but also all of the business ventures that they are investing in. As you saw there in the interview, going through over 150 candidates for investment and narrowing it down to 10. They're really going over things with a fine-tooth comb, finding the absolute best business ventures that will provide a return back to the Muskogee Creek Nation, working hand in hand. And I want to let you folks know that they quarterly report to our National Council, which those meetings are open. You can come to the National Council meetings, hear the quarterly report from Mr. Payne, also find out what they are reporting to the council, also some of the numbers, things like that, if you're concerned about that. The Business, Finance, and Justice Committee. Cannot stress it enough for our citizens to keep contacted with our websites, our outlets, to know when the council meetings are, when those committees meet. As I said, Mike Payne, CEO there of One Fire Holding, does report to the council on a quarterly basis, and it is up to you citizens to be informed. Be at those meetings, get the information from those meetings. We will certainly do our part in our diligence at Muskogee Media as well. So there you have it. Lots of great things coming up to talk about. Next week we'll look at Flying T and the process of that, talk with the people there, and really what it's going to bring to the Riverwalk and the development as we continue to just diversify our business ventures at Muskogee Creek Nation. Stay with us on the online channel on YouTube. Stay with us on Facebook and Twitter, and keep with what we're doing throughout the week on social media. Thanks for watching Native News Today. We'll see you next time.